The 1960s brought swinging London to Britain, the British invasion to America, and the music of the Kinks to the world.
There are very few bands in rock and roll history that announced themselves with such devastating force.
By 1963, the Kinks would challenge the Beatles with hit songs, inventive music, and brilliant lyrics.
I remember their first 3 singles just completely killed me.
They outdo both what the Beatles and the Stones are best at.
Success brought the foursome a wild rock and roll lifestyle, but it also brought trouble, damaging their trust in one another and fueling creative issues they would never overcome.
We bought the illusion. You know what I mean? We thought all these guys were friends.
Nothing to lose.
Lead you to where you are today.
I believe in storytelling.
It's gonna make you a star.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
In August of 1964, the Kinks, made up of brothers Ray and Dave Davis, Mick Avery and Peter Quaife, released a song that would become part of rock and roll history.
Girl, you really got me going. You got me so I know what I'm doing.
You Really Got Me is one of the most influential songs ever in rock and roll.
It's about a kid who's sexually attracted to a girl and they make out.
Got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
It isn't about I want to hold your hand, you know, it's about sex. And it sounds like sex, and it's sinister.
The song, with its raw, primal beat, hit #1 on the UK charts within a month.
It's hard to overstate the importance of that song to every significant rock movement that followed.
It was just unbelievable. It cut through everything. I mean, even the Beatles it cut through.
You can hear it in Van Halen. You can hear it in punk rock. You can hear it in, I don't know, some kid putting out an indie record today.
You Really Got Me steered popular music in a new direction, and it was all powered by the Davis brothers and a small 8-watt amp purchased in a second-hand shop.
In actuality, it was this little pig-nose amplifier that I think all of us used to kick every now and then as we went by, just to make it sound even more raunchy than it did.
What Dave did, he took this little green amp, about this big. It was the one that we used to rehearse with.
And I had messed around trying to get a decent sound out my amp. I couldn't. You got like a bright sound or a bassy sound, and that was it. So I decided to experiment.
Ray said that Dave stuck a knitting needle through the speaker to make it distort, and Dave says that what he did was he took a razor blade and sliced the speaker to make it distort.
And I plugged it in, and it made that rough noise. Oh, it's fantastic.
Dave's guitar was snarling, he was playing these bar chords, and Ray's vocal was snarling. And it was just like, wow, I didn't know you could have that emotion on a record.
It was a completely new sound, which was the toughest guitar sound, that we had ever heard.
This was a new sound from a new band that had formed just months before in the town of Muswell Hill, London.
Well, the Kinks began at the William Grimshaw Secondary Modern School in Muswell Hill. We were at a music lessons. One day, one of our teachers asked us if any of us could play any instrument. He said, because it would be nice if you could play at the school dance.
And so it's Ray, Pete, and myself that really started the band.
We got together and we found out that in actual fact it worked. It really did work. And we got up on the stage on the night of the school dance and it went down great. We looked at each other and went, boy, maybe we're onto something here.
We were like 3 baby musketeers. Our love for music.
We really started rehearsing together. And that always went on at Ray and Dave's place. It's the famous front room.
The Davis home at 6 Denmark Terrace served as rehearsal and social hangout.
There used to be parties every weekend, and everybody would sing the songs that they liked.
And the more we played out, the better we got. And the more excited we got.
We had various dramas. Eventually, we came across Mick.
When I first joined the band, they were like a blues band, and they did a lot of blues numbers.
The newly formed band played under a number of different names.
It would be the Ray Davis Quartet if it was Ray that got the job. But, so if I got the job, it was Peter Quaife Quartet. And so Ray found out about that, and then he said, no, I knew them before you did, and it's the Ray Davies Quartet.
I think they used to change the name quite a bit.
My earliest recollections are really playing gigs in Muswell Hill under a variety of names, the Ravens, which was my favourite name.
And then the band came across a name that would give them the commercial edge they needed.
I think someone suggested it in a pub, said to Mick, you know what you ought to be called, don't you? Bleeding Kinks.
They weren't called the Kinks for nothing. It was a big part of their image that they were kinky, the idea that anything goes.
The band's behaviour reflected their outrageous new name.
Yeah, there's a famous story about the first real flare-up in the group. Dave says something that Mick takes exception to, and Mick picks a cymbal up and throws it at Dave's head. Now, a cymbal is a big, heavy thing. That's going to take your head off if you throw it, right?
Yeah, well, it was a hi-hat, and I put it upside down, and he went down, and curtains closed. End of the show, folks.
Fighting was definitely part of the band's DNA, especially for brothers Ray and Dave, who had very different personalities.
Because I was a serious, deep-thinking musician, and there was this crazed kid with sort of really big hair playing these amazing guitar licks, and I thought, wow.
One wasn't like the other anyway. Dave used to be the showman. Ray was more reserved, the clever one, the poet and the writer.
We're not like each other either. I'm not like everybody else, and I'm especially not like my brother, and vice versa. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic now.
And undoubtedly, that gave the group some of the fire that it had. And if you look at footage of them playing You Really Got Me, Ray is quite laid back while he's singing, and over to his right is Dave Davis, raving it up like no one before or since.
Even if they were trying to outdo each other, it worked, It was a good combination.
Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me.
The tension, of course, was important. I think when it got out of control, when it became damaging, that's when it went wrong.
The band's infighting, however, did not distract them from the success the Beatles were having in America.
We knew that we could open up America, but in order to do that, we had to be there.
In February of 1964, the Beatles performed on The Ed Sullivan Show. 74 million Americans tuned in to witness the start of the British invasion.
I've equated the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and the whole British invasion really to a spaceship landing in Central Park. I mean, it's that kind of impact.
That was the sound of the baby boom discovering itself.
And the Beatles come to America and become a phenomenon unlike anything before or after. They have 9,000 of the top 1,000 songs. It's not mathematically possible, but the Beatles rule the American charts and they rule the American teen consciousness, and there gets to be this hunger for anything remotely Beatles-like.
When we went home from Christmas vacation that year, the world was black and white. And when we came back in the beginning of January, the world was in color.
Everything was different after that,
Like other British bands, the Kinks wanted badly to get in on this exciting American market.
There were lots of record companies and lots of other bands, obviously, who looked at the Beatles and said, I want to do that too.
The Kinks were well positioned to join the invasion. The question was, could these four teenagers pull their act together for America?
America was like a fantasy land to us then. I thought if we could go over there and make it there, we've done it all.